protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's go into the night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Sun today. Feels like it's been gone for quite some time as we do enter. As a matter of fact, we are deep into day 10. The Jaguars offseason, the pursuit of another head coach. Take over the reins, become the identity of this city. Both a blue-collar, hard-working city, also kind of yuppity with the rich folks who enjoy Jaguars football as well, right? Got to find the right guy. Hey, Ballou, it's all about culture. Hey, Ballou, it's all about leaders of men. Mm-hmm. Right. It's about fixing your quarterback. I mean, just get right to the point. Enough of this, enough of that. It's about fixing the quarterback. If you don't fix the quarterback, you got to start all over again. Aaron Glenn. Oh, he is a marvelous leader of men. He's the guy. He will fix this culture. How are you going to change the culture if you have an average quarterback? You need a dominant QB. Look at the playoff teams. Look at the 8 who remain. Look at every single year. The deeper we get into the playoffs, what do they all have in common? A great quarterback that remains, without any question, in my opinion, the biggest factor with this hire. Whoever it is, he will win the press conference. He will have you on pins and needles. He will have you believing that it is going to turn for the better. And that's the way it goes. Everyone always wins the presser, right? And we don't know if it's going to be a defensive coach. We don't know if it's going to be an offensive coach. We don't know if it's going to be an offensive coach who will call plays. We don't know if it's an offensive coach who will bring along with him a play caller as an offensive coordinator. It's more and more and more and more of this. We just don't know. Todd Monken interviewed a little bit earlier today. Diehard Jaguar fans, you remember him being here for 4 years, 2007 through 10, as the wide receivers coach. I'll never forget the interview I did with him when he went off to Oklahoma State, was the offensive coordinator and the quarterbacks coach. This organization right here in Duval drafted Justin Blackmon. And having him on to talk about Blackmon, I thought it would be a full-out 100% endorsement. It was anything but. Todd Monken at the time told us that Justin Blackmon took plays off, that Justin Blackmon did not go 100% if the ball was not going in his direction, that his route tree suffered immensely, and that was especially the case if the ball was not coming to him. I remember being shocked by this, but I also came away being phenomenally impressed that a guy would tell the truth, where in a lot of these situations, when you produce a first rounder, you're going to gush and gush and gush. And even if it pains you somewhat, you're only going to say positive things about a guy coming out of your program. As far as head coaching experience, after his days at Oklahoma State, he went to Southern Mississippi for 3 years. That is not exactly big-time football, set aside Lord Favre when he beat Florida State here in 1989. Maybe the hottest day I have ever experienced in Duval. And for the record, it was the first time I ever came here to beautiful Jacksonville, 1989. I think it was a late August game, maybe September 1st. I don't know. I was so damn hungover, and it was 100 degrees, and Lord Favre beat when he hit Michael Jackson in the back, the non-child molesting Michael Jackson, the one who's still alive, hit him in the back of the end zone, and I was like, damn, Knowles are going to lose this game. Then they lost a week later. Terry Allen ran for like $160, and that was back in a time where no one beat Florida State in God's country, not named the U, not named Miami. Florida didn't go in there and win. No one went in there and won. Terry Allen and Clemson did. And if there was a college football playoff in 1989, Florida State would have won it all. They were dominant at the end of the year. Pounded LSU, beat Reggie Slack in Auburn, beat Florida, beat Miami 28-14. But, hey, we didn't have a college football playoff then, right? People complained about it just like people complain about it now. Even though we got a 12-teamer, people always are going to complain in the world of college football when it comes to playoffs, when it comes to being wronged. I'd much rather have this system. Again, you heard very little complaint about the wild card weekend, where 5 of the 6 games, for the most part, were one-sided. Or I guess 4 out of the 6. Anyway, just a little bit of a rant there. And then the Landing. It was like brand new. The very next day on Sunday, the Marshall Tucker Band came out and played at the Landing. And, again, that was my first experience right here in Duval. So that's what Todd Monken has done. Southern Mississippi. Then he was an offensive coordinator in Tampa. He was an offensive coordinator in Cleveland. He was an offensive coordinator for Georgia. Won a couple of national titles. And right now, he is in his second year with Baltimore, the most highlighted game coming up during the divisional round of the playoffs. That is going to be phenomenal. Baltimore at Buffalo. That, of course, coming up on Sunday. Hey, we'll look at that game coming up in about 40 minutes when we bring in our good friend, the Philly Godfather, to take a look at things from a wagering perspective. So Monken is in, and the completion of these interviews are now going to happen with, Liam Cohen yesterday becoming the 6th, Todd Monken, and apparently the interview is ongoing, the 7th, right? Todd Monken will interview with the Bears tomorrow. Kellen Moore, who we know most prominently from Dallas, both as a backup quarterback and as an assistant coach, is currently the offensive coordinator with the Philadelphia Eagles. He is scheduled to interview here tomorrow morning. Obviously, these are all virtual interviews. Brian Flores, the now outgoing Minnesota Vikings, because they lost the defensive coordinator. He will interview tomorrow night. And then Joe Brady. We just talked about Baltimore and Buffalo, right? You got Todd Monken against Joe Brady. The guys lining everything up to call plays. Joe Brady's going to do it Saturday night, apparently. Some are saying. This system is screwed up. It is. But you know what? There's no other way to do it. There really isn't. Because I look at it this way. And maybe you can make this point. I really love to hear a conversation on it. And I've never heard anyone speak on it before. So here goes. This may be for the first time. But this league is always evolving. Right? It's always changing. I mean, before you know it, the Super Bowl is going to be like on the equator, right? Roger Goodell's out. He's going to have it in Germany. He's going to have it in Brazil. I mean, the Super Bowl, before we know it, is going to be gone. He's already talked about doing it internationally. But the NFL, unlike the NBA, they reward bad teams through the NFL draft. They allow you to bounce back what they think should be, nearly immediate. Where if you have a bad year, you're going to draft first. And look at all the bad teams this year. I mean, honestly, 1/3 of the NFL is bad. Titans, 3-14. And every time I mention this, just think of the quarterback situation compared to your Jaguars. Titans, 3-14. Browns, 3-14. Giants, 3-14. Patriots, 4-13. Raiders, 4-13. Jets, 5-12. Panthers, 5-12. Saints, 5-12. Bears 5-12. Jaguars 4-13. By far the best quarterback there. Maybe someone can make a point for Caleb Williams. Okay? Maybe. But there's a lot of bad football teams. The NFL bends over backwards to say we have a salary cap in place, so big market teams can't do like what we see in Major League Baseball, right? We reward losing teams by allowing them to draft first and all the way up as far as the NFL draft. Here we are talking about the candidates for this job here in Jacksonville. Offensive and defensive coordinator in Detroit. If they love one of those two, how much longer are they going to have to wait? Obviously, the answer is until they get eliminated. Steve Spagnuolo, still running the defense very effectively, I may add, right now in Kansas City. A lot of people think it's going to be a Kansas City-Detroit Super Bowl. Kellen Moore, running the offense in Philadelphia, plays this weekend. Joe Brady, Todd Monken, Baltimore and Buffalo, respectively, face one another this weekend. So they allow these interviews to take place virtually, which to me is a major problem considering all of the focus should be on game planning for your opponent. I mean, imagine if Jacksonville was in this situation. Just for one moment. Okay? Let's drift off into Never Never Land. Well, let's say instead of 4-13, Jacksonville was 13-4. And they were getting ready for the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. And you're talking about putting together a game plan against whoever their opponent would be. And you as a fan hear that Press Taylor is going through his 6th different virtual interview on the cusp of this game. And that Ryan Nielsen is once again getting ready to do another virtual interview. How would you feel as a fan when your offensive and defensive coordinator, instead of 110% effort and focus on the team and the game at hand, you're interviewing here, you're interviewing there? And I know that it's an unfair question to you because that just seems bizarre after winning only 4 games. But that situation could happen at some point. So here's what I think should happen. I think the NFL shouldn't allow teams looking for a new head coach to interview until their team is eliminated. Everything is set up for losing teams. Top draft picks, salary cap. You take away bringing in coordinators for teams that are still in the playoffs to your particular team until they are no longer in it. That solves all of this, right? And I've never heard anyone speak on it before. But to me, this is a mess. And I got to believe in Baltimore and in Buffalo and in Detroit and in any of these other cities, Philadelphia, that this has become pretty taxing to them. All right? I understand it's an accomplishment that you are a candidate to become a head coach. Every coach wants to be eventually a head coach. But I just think the system is wrong. And I'd like to see it go the other way. And every week that goes by, obviously, more candidates will become available, like a Liam Cohen, eliminated in Tampa, like a Brian Flores, eliminated in Minnesota. I just think the rules are too beneficial to losing teams. Wouldn't mind seeing that actually happen in the future. I've never heard anything along those lines ever. Okay? I just thought of it a couple of days ago, and I knew at some point I would mention that to you because you are such an outstanding audience and a very intelligent audience. I mean, you could do such things as tell me to go jump in a gator-infested lake, or you could say, you know what, Ballou? I think that actually makes some sense. I like that idea. And again, I'm trying to ask you to consider something that you would never think on. because we're talking about the Jaguars in the playoffs, and we're talking about the Jaguars deep into the playoffs. And we're talking about two coordinators who were just awful. I mean, just terrible. Is there a worse coordinator combination in football than Press Taylor and Ryan Nielsen? I mean, those two together were absolutely bogus, and here I am trying to get you to digest that, to comprehend that. And I know it's very, very hard to do, but I'm attempting it anyway. There was a time where that stuff happened. Kevin Gilbride, Chris Palmer, Dom Capers, Dick Geron. I mean, there was. You got to go way back when. But that used to happen to this franchise under Tom Coughlin. My idea. Would love to get a little bit of feedback from you on it. All right. When we come back, let's take this a step farther. Okay, that is something that I gave you, and again, I expect, as always, to get some really good response from you. The best way to do it is on our text line at 641-1010, brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. And I also have something else that I think makes a lot of sense. I keep thinking about building the team. And when I talk about building the team, to me, this is the most fascinating part of any franchise. And it's why I've always loved the offseason. Okay? You know, you lose and you come in on a Monday and it's terrible. I feel so bad for you, especially if you're at a job you don't like, especially if you're with a partner you don't like, or you don't like as much. You know, your wife is just driving you crazy. You want out, but you can't afford it. I mean, God, if you're in that boat, man, that's awful. You're staying married because you can't afford to get divorced. And I'll tell you right now, as a man's man who has been divorced, the laws here suck. Stay married, man. I mean, just do it. It's all about the woman. She gets all the rights. She gets all the kids. She gets all the money. I still have these nightmares, man. I pound Miller Lights, and it's like when I'm halfway through the Miller Lite, I'm like, is my ex-wife going to come by and take the rest of it from me? It's an awful feeling. So anyway, that's why I like the offseason better. It's not measured by wins and losses. Instead, this is an opportunity for us as one to build it, right? How do you build this thing? Well, you need a leader of men. How do you build this thing? You need to fix the culture. Really? Do you really? Okay. How are you going to fix the culture when this is a soft team? Answer me that. I was going to start next segment with it, but I'll bring it up here to tease as we get out of here. How are you going to fix the culture when you have a soft football team? You have no leaders on this football team. How are you going to fix it? You can't. You got to fix the quarterback. That's what you got to fix. You got to take this guy to the elite level. And then maybe some others will want to play hard around him. Because right now it's not happening. It's a very soft team, especially in the ditch. It was a very soft team when your quarterback got concussed. How many teams around the league would have taken it upon themselves for payback? They didn't even have to be told. They would just pay it back. Not this team. They didn't even get hit with a 15-yard personal foul. So just remember that when you keep hearing the culture story, okay? The team is soft right now, and they need to turn that around. And the best way for that to happen is for your quarterback to improve his play. I'm telling you. All right, opening comments are brought to you by Shmunez Vision. I'm in love with Shmunez Vision. I am. I'm going to come right out and say it here on this Thursday because my eyes are perfect. And yours may not be. It's starting to get dark outside, right? Is it fatigue that has set in? Where are your eyes now just after 6 o'clock p.m. compared to 6 o'clock in the a.m. when you're getting the kids ready for school, when you're getting ready to make your way to the job. Your eyes have gone south on you, right? The older you get, the eyes get weaker. That's very common. So set up for a regular eye examination? Absolutely. That's a big part of the things over there at Shmunez Vision. Then you consider laser eye surgery. Well, 30 years worth of experience. Dr. Catherine Shmunez, Dr. Neo Shmunez, Dr. John Hunt. If you have an issue and you're scared about it, don't delay. Make an appointment today. You may be worried about a cataract situation. There may be a remedy for you where surgery is not needed. However, if you need surgery, this is the best in the business. And again, they will sit and talk and answer all of your questions, all of your concerns. Check them out today. Go to Shmunez Vision online. You can also grab all of their testimonials by going to Instagram and Shmunez Vision as well. Let me check Timmy B. I am not able to make contact right now with the great Tim Brando. That'll happen either tonight, later, or Monday, or perhaps tomorrow night on a Friday, but we'll definitely do it before Ohio State and Notre Dame. In the meantime, we got a ton to do. It's great to have you with us. We call this Into the Night.
Let's get this crowd going now. Come on, get him up, get him up, get him up. Come on, come on, come on. Crowd on its feet.
This is what we live for right here.
1010XL.
This is what you live for. Let's go.
Frank Frangie here. It's new year, new truck time at Nimnik Buick GMC, home of the largest inventory of GMC Sierras in Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia. This month, save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierra 1500s or enjoy rates as low as 0% and 0 APR financing. Yes, 0%. You can't find deals like this anywhere in Jacksonville. Shop 24/7 online at NimnikBuickGMC.com. Value your trade and customize your payment options in seconds. Nimnik Buick GMC. GMC, we are professional grade.
This is the Mangler. Years of playing football coupled with lifestyle left my feet mangled with neuropathy. I was experiencing burning, tingling, and numbness. I spoke with 2 foot specialists and they told me there was no cure. They were wrong. I found Dr. Nate Riddle in Ponte Vedra. After utilizing his neuropathy treatment for only 2 weeks, I noticed a difference in my feet. I was regaining my feeling and balance. If you want relief from nerve pain, call Dr. Nate for a free consultation at Riddle Wellness, 904-395-5598.
Ring in the new year with a new boat. Don't miss the Jacksonville Boat Show, January 24th, 25th, and 26th at the Prime Osborne Convention Center. Presented by ViStar Credit Union. Tickets at boatjacks.com. Come buy a boat.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hayes Carlyon from MyBookie. It's win now or go home. The NFL playoffs are the ticket to the biggest game of the year, and all roads lead to New Orleans. The NCAA playoffs will set the stage, but this is your chance to get in on every high-stakes moment along the way. Your road to New Orleans starts now with MyBookie. MyBookie is the ultimate destination for bettors who want more. Whether you're backing the underdogs or riding with the favorites, every drive, every touchdown, every moment is an opportunity to win big. Kick off your 2025 right with risk-free Thursdays. Place a bet. If it doesn't hit, MyBookie has your back. Dive into the Bet Boost tab to supercharge your picks and build that bankroll before the big game. The action doesn't stop. MyBookie's online casino keeps the excitement going 24/7. If you haven't joined yet, now's the time. Use promo code 1010XL on your first deposit, and MyBookie will hook you up with an instant bonus because you deserve to start strong.
Start your Saturday with a whiff of the great outdoors.
Captain Kevin Favor here with Captain Kirk and Jeff Loggeman, and we bring you the fresh air of the great outdoors.
On the Nimnik Outdoors Show, presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning on 1010XL.
Bud Light and everyone at Anheuser-Busch want to remind you to get home safely every time. People are counting on you on the road and at home. Plan ahead with safe rides and don't forget to hydrate between beers. Bud Light encourages everyone to enjoy responsibly and socialize safely.
Home is where your story begins. And at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to make it the healthiest, most comfortable place it could be. Whether it's fresh, clean air, dependable plumbing, or reliable power, we take care of it all. From routine maintenance to state-of-the-art solutions, Donovan keeps your home running smoothly. Because at Donovan, we believe your home isn't just where you live, it's where your health meets comfort. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing at 904-270-COOL or visit us online. Let's make your home healthier, safer, and better together.
Jacksonville. When AEW returns home, it is the biggest party in all of professional
termites attack your home or business and cause costly damage, Terminix it. Terminix stops termites in my home fast. These destructive pests may have been around for millions of years, but before they show up, so does Terminix. And their time is up. Don't live with a termite problem. I certainly wasn't going to. Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. Terminix.com.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro-Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at projaxroofingfl.com.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjax.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Hey, Hicken here with a message from Zero Res. Guess what? We love rugs. We'll treat your fine Oriental rugs with tender, loving care they deserve. How about Gerard, the Zero Res rug cleaning manager, one of the few certified master rug cleaners in the state of Florida? If you want your rugs cleaned with tender, loving care, call Zero Res. Right now, have one rug washed and we'll wash a second rug free. That's right, buy one, the second one on me. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Philly Godfather is 18 minutes away. He hands out nothing but winners. So he is on deck. Right now, two of my favorite things. Miller Lite and Mr. Baseball, Bob Uecker.
It's one of my bigger days. Let me buy a beer. Sure. These fans, I love them. When I came in, they didn't recognize me at first, but then when I told them who I was, next thing you know, they're buying me my favorite beer, light beer from Miller. They know us ex-big leaguers drink light because it's got a third less calories than their regular beer. It's less filling, and it tastes great. Thanks. Hey, it's a pleasure to buy a beer for a great pitcher like Whitey Ford. So I lied.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Hey, Whitey, I thought you were a lefty. Oh, that's right.
Miss the old school Miller Lite commercials. I mean, they were simply phenomenal. John Madden is the one I would think of most. But Uecker's right there. And the battles of taste great, less filling, taste great. Anyway, that was years and years ago. And I used to have a couple of those old school Miller Lite posters. I do not know what happened to them. But if you're joining us for the first time, beloved Brewers broadcaster, Bob Uecker has passed. And, you know, being a hometown broadcaster is really, really special. It is. I mean, when my good friend Gene Deckerhoff announced that he was out at Florida State, I haven't heard the new cat, Jeff Culhane. My understanding he does a nice job, but it just feels like decades and decades and decades of guys that you can identify with. There's not as many of them any longer. I mean, forever late at night, I would watch Dodgers games, and I'd do whatever I needed to do. I'd read a book, whatever, but just listening to Vince Scully in the background was an absolute pleasure. And I just don't think we see enough of that anymore. For one reason or another, it's kind of like the games that they cover, where the players and the coaches get waived, traded, fired, or move along as free agents. They're basically a dime a dozen at this particular point. But Bob Uecker was certainly one of the greats. And, you know, a lot of people, he will be remembered most for, Major League. But he lived to the age of 90. Very good life. You ever have a chance to listen to any Bob Uecker play-by-play, some home run calls for the Milwaukee Brewers?
I've heard him over the years, but not, I haven't listened to a game like, a lot of your generation. And, my only person was really Mick Hubert with Florida.
Mm-hmm.
There was a connection with him, so many good calls. But, radio is just not the same anymore as it used to be, man. It's a lot of it's TV, and you'll hear like the radio play-by-play after the fact. Like if it's a great call or a great play, you'll hear it after. It's just not the same anymore.
See, I always thought baseball on radio was the greatest. And part of the art of the play-by-play guy was to not talk at all. Especially in the day before they sped up the pitch count or, the pitcher on the bump. It used to take forever to play these games, and the batters would step out of the box, and the pitchers would have their toe off the slab, and it would take 30, 35, 40, 45 seconds in between pitches. And just to hear the ballpark and just hear the chorus of whatever was going on through the stadium and the guy selling beer or popcorn or whatever. I used to grow up, in Boston, listening to Red Sox games on a tiny little AM, FM clock radio. My dad had me in bed by freaking 8 o'clock until I was a senior in high school. I mean, he's just a firm disciplinarian. I love him to death. But I would be sneaking that in, trying to listen to it. And Miller Park, by the way, it has his call, which I think is it's up, it's out, it's gone, or whatever it was for Bob Uecker. They do a nice display of that out around the beer slide where the brewer actually slides into a mug of beer. Pretty cool. But I just wanted to spend a minute on Bob Uecker, 90 years of age. What a great life. And he did, unfortunately, pass a little bit earlier today. All right. Let's get back to the Jaguars. And, I'm so concerned about this hire because if I was a betting man right now, and I'm not, but if I was a betting man, before the hire is even announced, if you were to pay me $10,000 for what and when I think will happen, I would say that whoever gets hired by this organization will be fired in 3 years. That's the track record. That's the track record of Shad Khan. Okay? That is what this brain trust is, in my opinion. It's going to be another up and down, maybe a glimmer of hope, and that in 3 years you're going to be fired. That's no matter who you have. Okay? And the reason being is this. There's not a great cast of characters on this football team. And you're missing two enormous components. You don't have any leaders, and you're not tough. How can you win in this league if you don't have leaders? How can you win in this league if you're not tough? And that's the identity of this Jaguars football team. They're a soft team. And I don't know how you just flip the switch and you fix that. And I keep on reading mock drafts. First round, get a corner. Second round, get a defensive. And I'm just like, no. You've got one shot here, and that is to fix your quarterback. That is to take your quarterback to the top level. That is your only shot. You need a right guard, and you need a number 2 wide receiver. Are you going to trust Trent Baalke to go out and get great offensive players via free agency? How many great players has this organization got via free agency? They've overpaid Mitch Morse. They've overpaid Brandon Sheriff. They've overpaid Gabe Davis. They've overpaid Christian Kirk. All right, 9.6 the first year for Evan Ingram. Then you gave him a deal. I'll give you that. Those two have been injured. But they were not superstars. Christian Kirk was like the third wide receiver on Arizona. Evan Ingram was considered a first-round bust. Okay? Those two took the next step. I'm not arguing that. But I want you to understand my point. Superstar offensive players do not come here. Period. Who's the last one who has? Give me one. Can you give me one in the history of the organization? And I'm not talking about going off the street and getting Keenan McCardell and Jimmy Smith. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about going out and getting a superstar. You think T. Higgins is going to come here? I'm sure Bulky's willing to overpay. He always overpays. But just, and you're being fed this. And a lot of people who are writing it and whatever, I have a lot of respect for them. I'm friends with many of them. I'm not calling them out. I'm just taking you the other way, which I believe is the correct way. You can't fix it all, people. You just can't. So, are you better off getting a defensive tackle and getting a safety via free agency and plugging them in? You need superstars on offense. This team doesn't have a superstar on that offensive line. This team doesn't have a leader on that offensive line. Okay? You need a dominant number 2 wide receiver. Now, maybe, just maybe, because Bulky's around, he'll let this ridiculous contract for Christian Kirk stay. And in a lot of circles, you know what? Even though he is massively overpaid for a slot wide receiver, it's a good thing if you can afford it. And this team can afford it. See, that's what scares me. The ego comes into play here with Trent Baalke. He's not going to go out and draft a wide receiver high. He's not going to go out and overspend, even though I just gave you a scenario with T. Higgins. He's got Gabe Davis. That's his move. If you were to secretly get with Trent Baalke and say, hey, Trent, we'll give you an opportunity to fix 5 things, 5 wishes, Gabe Davis is on that list because the guy's never caught more than 48 balls. And when he came here, there were questions. And there were certainly questions this year. I think if a new general manager came in, they would probably say goodbye to him and eat that absurd amount of dead cap money. There's no way Trent Baalke's going to do that. He's on the hook for Gabe Davis. He hopes he fixes himself. He hopes he's able to contribute to the 2025 Jaguars. Tell me, 641-1010. Lifetime enclosures. Tell me, who's the last offensive free agent that this organization has signed that was a superstar, that was really, really good at what he does? I'm all ears on this one. Get back to us on it as well. Let's take a look at the national title. Let's take a look at the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. On the other side, we hear from the Philly Godfather.
1010XL is your home for Jacksonville University basketball.
Surfing the wave of a 3-game win streak, the Dolphins reel in the Lions at historic Swisher Gym, JU, North Alabama. Tonight at 7 on 1010 AM.
Ballou here for Smoonez Vision. Why Smoonez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smoonez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smoonez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smoonez is fellowship-trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmoonezVision.com today. Here you can see.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Dandy subs and sandwiches. Look, we always want you to think about those great options as you're driving around Duval. But the beauty is, even as I'm dropping pounds, Dandy's got great options for me as well. Told you all about their protein packs, delicious salads that they have out there. They have fruit cups for on the go. You know what they have. Veggie snack trays. You can grab those on the go as well. Perfect, healthy snack. Dandy is the name to know when you're on the go. So stop into a Gate store anywhere around Duval and make yours a dandy and do it today.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and when you head into a brand new year with a boat show coming up, you've got a lineup of Honda and Coach pontoon boats that you want people to know about.
We do. We've got them in stock. It might still be a little chilly, but it's never too soon to start thinking about your next boat. We are going to be at the boat show January 24 to 26. You can come see us there. If you can't make it to our showroom, come see us at the boat show.
All sorts of ideas and opportunities to enjoy fun on the water with Cycles of Jacksonville. You can log on and check them out, or head to the showroom and be at the boat show.
I'm Clayton Bromberg, the chairman of Underwoods. With Christmas behind us and 2025 here, the last thing you want to hear is somebody trying to sell you something. That's why at Underwoods, we'd like to just stop and say thank you to all the people that came in our stores over the last year. Whether you bought from us or not, we want to thank you for coming by and giving us the chance to help. You know, in North Florida, there are a lot of people trying to sell you jewelry. But at Underwoods, we consider it an honor for somebody to come in and just give us that chance to help. And if we do a good job, we might get a chance to serve again. Having served North Florida since 1928, all of us here understand what a customer really gives us during that visit to Underwoods, their trust. And it's up to us to do everything we can to keep it. So on behalf of everybody on the Underwood team, thanks again for coming into our stores. And we wish each of you a Happy New Year.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On January 16, 1960, Detroit Red Wing Gordie Howe scores a goal and an assist in his 888 career game, becoming the NHL's all-time leading scorer with 947 points.
Don't go through another year with all that high-interest debt. Let Loan Pronto wipe it all out now. Hey, it's Prosser here, and Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan makes it easy to pay off all your credit cards or tackle that 2025 home improvement project. Get cash in your pocket fast. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's AI-driven tech gets you approved and funded in as little as 1 day. One client got $150,000 approved in under 24 hours, paid off all their credit cards, 2 cars, and personal loans, saving over $1,500 per month. With low fixed rates and lightning fast transfers, you can do it too. Consolidate debt, improve your home, take control of your finances. Imagine being credit card debt-free by this time next week. You can. Don't wait. Call Loan Pronto now, 904-999-1508, or visit loanpronto.com. Get your free quote now with no hard credit pull at 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166178. Subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Mia here. Since 1982, Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made the process so easy. She came to my house and designed a walk-in closet that's not only beautiful, but also incredibly functional for me and old Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 800-293-3744. Hey, and if you mention Mia or Helmets and Heels, you'll qualify for free base molding. Call today or visit closetsbydesign.com.
Bull riding. The perfect fusion of strength, skill, and pure willpower. Professional bull riders aren't just athletes. They're daredevils with cowboy souls. Come experience the true modern West, where 8 seconds of glory will create a lifetime of memories. It's the Michelob Ultra PBR Jacksonville at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, February 22nd and 23rd. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com and PBR.com. Hold on tight. The ride of your life is about to begin.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
How much do the performers for Super Bowl halftime shows get paid?
Filing an insurance claim following a storm shouldn't be an ordeal. Southern Oak Insurance's claim team prepares for catastrophic situations well in advance. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Super Bowl performers are not paid for their shows, but production costs are covered by the NFL, which could go as high as $15 million.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now,
Another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
You can pre-order the Philly Godfathers book. It's called, you can get it at phillybook.com. It's called Booked Philly Godfather, the true life events of the Philly Godfather. Very excited about reading this, but again, you can pre-order that right now. Let's bring him in. Philly Godfather joins Rick Ballou. Welcome, sir.
How you doing, guys, man? It's another beautiful day to be alive. NFL playoffs are here. College football national championship. I gave you guys Ohio State before the season started at 4-1, so we're sitting pretty.
Yeah, and they're big favorites here, 8.5, 9. You think it remains a I've seen somewhere it's gone to 8. Do you think it remains a one-possession game, or do you think when it's all said and done, it'll creep back up to 8.5, 9?
Well, it opened up 9 down to 8 in most shops, depending on, who you bet with. I don't think so. I think the right side is Notre Dame for the fact that, they rank top 5 in turnover margin. They rank top 5 in yards per rush attempt, so they can chew that clock. The only thing that worries me a little bit is their pass rush isn't one of the better ones in college football this year. They're mediocre. They're ranked around 40th in pressure rate and sack rate. And Ohio State, you've seen what they've done offensively in the playoffs. I mean, they're averaging 37 points per game. So if you make any type of mistakes against that team, they're going to bury you. But I think at 9 points, I think Notre Dame can keep it close. They showed they can beat an elite team like Penn State that had, the 4th best odds to win the national championship going in, or the 5th best odds going into the playoffs. And they hung around with them. They made Penn State's quarterback alert make some mistakes. So, yeah, definitely. I like Notre Dame here plus the 9, even though I do have futures on Ohio State at 4-1. I think Ohio State wins the game, but I think Notre Dame can stay within the Vegas number.
Not very interesting. There's no doubt about it. If you look at what, Texas did, they completely took the best player on the field out of the game in Jeremiah Smith. And Notre Dame, you and I have talked about it all year. This is a takeaway defense. This is a ball-hawking defense. Do you think anything changes now for Ohio State where they feel pressure as though they got to force the football and try to get it to Smith after not being able to do it last week?
Yeah, I think they'll be able to pass on Notre Dame's pass defense. As good as the run defense is, it's not even close. So I think Ohio State will have success passing the ball. But again, it's all about turnovers, about who makes the mistakes. We saw that in the Penn State game with Notre Dame, and both teams rank in the top 10 in turnover margin. So I think it's going to be a very conservative start in the first half. Nobody wants to make that first turnover. A lot of running. A lot of defense, and in the second half, we'll see the game open up a little bit.
Kansas City coming up on Saturday. It's the first of the 4 playoff games, taking on the Houston Texans. Another pretty big line, somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 points, Philly Godfather.
Yeah, I've seen it as high as 9 at some shops. And if this wasn't a dome team going into really cold weather, I'd be looking to take the Texans on the money line at plus 400. I love them at plus 9. Top 5 rushing offense. Top 5 when it comes to sack percentage on defense, while the Chiefs rank like 29th in the league and running the ball, and they're like 18th in pressure rate on their defensive line. Mahomes is amazing. It's hard betting against him. But when you're giving me 10 points with a healthy Texans team, if you've seen when they were healthy during the year, they lost by 3 points to the Detroit Lions, and they actually beat the Buffalo Bills when they were fully healthy, 23-20. So this is a team that compete, and you've seen what they did against the Chargers. I mean, this is a team where Kansas City, they just played the Chargers and beat them by 2 points, and you saw Texas manhandle them. Now, obviously, they were at home, and, this is a different environment. It's tough to play in Kansas City, but giving me almost 10 points. If it gets to 10, I'm all over, the Texans here. And if it wasn't in cold weather, I'd probably be looking to take them on the money line.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to criticize Kansas City. They're 15-2, and they're 8-0 at Arrowhead. But all year long, we've been talking about how the Jaguars were 3-10 in one-possession games, losing 10 of them. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it felt like every single week Kansas City had to play 60 minutes and ended up winning it by a field goal.
Yeah, and you got to give credit to Andy Reid, Spags, and Mahomes for that. They find ways to win. They're battle-tested. When it comes to crunch time, nobody's better than Mahomes. But again, like you said, all these games have been close, during the regular season. And I think Texas can hang around.
All right. Philly Godfather, give us your information out there for our listening audience.
Yeah, you can find me on X at Philly Godfather. The website is thephillygodfather.com. And thanks for mentioning the book. You can grab the book at phillybooked.com, and it's going to be it's on Amazon now, so you can even go to Amazon and grab it.
Yeah. I wondered about the awful situation in Los Angeles with the fires and what that would do with the Rams. And, they slid over to Arizona, and obviously it had no effect on them at all against Minnesota. What about going the other way now and heading east and taking on Philadelphia, cold environment? Is that a distraction, or professionally, is this team able to put that to the side, and you believe that's not a factor?
It's definitely a factor. You're going to have to travel, cross country. A lot of things going on back home for these guys. So mentally, I know they're trying to stay focused, but, how focused can you be when you see, all that stuff going on back home? Line opened up 4.5. It's up to 6. Eagles -6. I think ever since week 6, when they took the ball out of Jalen Hurts' hands and they started handing the ball over more to Barkley, you've seen this team just become unstoppable. One of the best running teams in the league. Saquon Barkley, arguably the MVP, other than Josh Allen, maybe Lamar Jackson. It's going to be tough for the Rams to cover this game. If they make one mistake, they're finished, because the Eagles haven't been turning the ball over. But last week against the Packers, I saw some weaknesses. If the Packers don't turn the ball over 4 times, that game would have been a lot closer than the final score indicated. And the way the Rams defense has been playing over the second half of the season, one of the best in the NFL. You got maybe the best quarterback in the NFC with Stafford, and arguably the best coach in the NFC. Man, Nix is right there. If I was going to bet the Rams, I'd take them on tease them up to 13 for some insurance. I'm not looking to bet the side here because I think the number's right on. But I would probably look to take the Rams in a teaser. Thanks.
If A.J. Brown only gets targeted 3 times and has 1 reception, what are the chances in the second half that he's reading the Philly Godfather booked on the bench?
Well, I'll tell you a funny story. The kid I trained for years, boxing-wise, good friend of mine, and he went on to train a couple world champions. He actually trains A.J. Brown during the year of boxing. So I get a lot of inside scoop. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, he's not 100% healthy.
Okay.
He can still go out there and play, but in my opinion, he's more of a decoy than anything right now. And I think the league's starting to figure that out. So, don't expect big numbers for him if you're looking to bet his prop bets this week.
Interesting. Let's wrap it up with the finale, and it may be the best game of the weekend. This will be a rematch. Remember what Baltimore did in the regular season against Buffalo. Buffalo, real tough at night. They're 8-0 this year at home. How do you see Ravens at Bills?
Yeah, 8-0 at home. It's going to be 8 degrees for the game, they're saying. So it's going to be ice cold over there. The line opened up Buffalo -1.5. It's flip-flopped to Baltimore -1.5. Lamar Jackson in the cold, I'm not sure. I think the coldest game he's ever played in is 27 degrees. They do have Derrick Henry, and he's a monster. I don't agree with the move. I don't agree with the sharp money that took Baltimore. I like Buffalo here. Josh Allen can beat you in so many different ways. And as great as Lamar Jackson has been this year, Josh Allen has been better. I like the Bills here. Give me 1.5 at home in the cold weather. You see Lamar Jackson's numbers drop off dramatically in the playoffs for some reason. I think it happens again in this matchup. I like the Bills +1.5 at home.
All right. There you have it from the Philly Godfather. Once again, Philly Godfather, give your info for our listening audience, and also tell them where they can get your book.
Yeah, you can follow me on X at Philly Godfather. The website's thephillygodfather.com. Grab my book, please. I love you guys at phillybooked.com, and I'm on the best show in the world every Thursday, 6:45 p.m., the Rick Ballou Show.
Always a pleasure, Philly Godfather. Best of luck in all your plays.
Good luck, guys.
There he goes. Philly Godfather. Just playing a lot of dogs, huh? I mean, he's playing the dogs. That's how you win with the dogs.
That's how you make a lot of money.
That's how you win. You go against the public. But in this case, he's going against the sharp money. He's going against the wise guy money that flipped the Buffalo-Baltimore line. Who do you like right now? I know we're a few days out, and there's a couple of injuries, including Flowers, who didn't practice today, that we need to still check on. So I would advise, if you're betting on this game, to probably wait until late Sunday afternoon. But right now, who do you like, Dylan?
I lean Buffalo, barely. I'll lean heavily one way, but I lean Buffalo just because they're at home.
I think I'm going to go the other way, just because Buffalo to me is a team that is snake bit, and they can't get out of January football. In Baltimore here, I just think they'll be able to control this offense. If they're able to run the football in the cold temperatures with both Jackson and Henry, I think it's too much. But what a thriller that is going to be. That is the final of the 4 games. That'll be up at 6:30 on Sunday night on CBS. Baltimore visits Buffalo. All right, let's get ready for our second hour. Why don't we do that? Oh, my goodness. Look at the text. This audience is so remarkable. I mean, you folks just seem to outdo yourself all the time. I've asked what I think are a couple of really key questions, and I continuously give you my opinion on what I think this football team needs to do with their next head coach hire. Let's get response from you. The best way to do it, 641-1010. That is the text line, brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures.
1010XL takes you inside the program director's office with Dan and Jeff.
I'm not saying a word till I get a lawyer.
The Drill.
Is this about the bonuses again?
Mornings.
There are no bonuses.
On 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Do the Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle. It's the time of year all our customers love. At Garber Auto Mall, every 2024 must go. Take advantage of thousands in discounts on all new Chevy, Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Ford. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or at GarberAutomall.com. And remember, at Garber Auto Mall, there's always a little room for wiggle. Do the Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
Hey, poker fans! The Best Bet Winter Open Series returns to Best Bet Jacksonville from January 23rd to February 2nd. Satellites into the $1,500 main event kick off January 4th. Take your shot at big payouts with 8 action-packed events and $500,000 in guarantees. Visit bestbetjacks.com for more details. That's bestbetjacks.com. And we'll see you at the Winter Open starting January 23rd.
It's New Year's resolution time, so why not skip the guilt and do something you'll actually stick to, like fixing that leaky faucet, unclogging that drain, or getting your AC ready for the summer.
DuckDuck is here to help you keep this resolution, investing in your home.
Start the year off right with DuckDuck Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. Call us today at 904-862-6769, because when you're stuck, call the Duck. Right now, get $50 off any service of $150 or more.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Hey folks, Mike Dempsey here for Pella Windows and Doors. Look, it's kind of cooling down right now. I love opening my windows up this time of year. If you're looking to upgrade your windows in your home, I want you to visit the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. Ask about their latest hurricane and impact-resistant windows and doors, rated #1 by Consumer Reports in all 3 main window categories. You want quality, style, and protection? Visit PellaJacks.com and the showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. That's Pella Windows and Doors online at PellaJacks.com.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web, precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Ammon, you're always talking about how clean air is healthy air. I've had this cold for weeks. Can cleaning my air ducts actually help?
Well, Dad, I'm not a doctor, and let's be honest, you probably caught that cold from one of your grandkids. But I can tell you this, the cleaner your air, the better you'll feel.
Makes sense, but what do air ducts have to do with it?
Your ducts are like the lungs of your home. If they're full of dust, allergens, and who knows what else, all that junk gets blown into the air you breathe, especially now that the heat's running. And the EPA says improving indoor air quality can reduce health risk.
So you're telling me my vents are working harder than my immune system?
Exactly. That's why Zero Res is here. We're NADCA certified, and our truck mount system is the most powerful in the industry. Right now, we're even offering $100 off your total for January.
All right, sign me up. If it makes me feel better and keeps your mom off my back, I'm all in.
Good call, Dad.
Zero Res.
Spelled border backwards. It's the right way to clean.
CEROREC. Zero Res.
Jacksonville. When AEW returns home, it is the biggest party in all of professional wrestling.
Daily's Place, the home of AEW.
And on Saturday, January 25th, Collision returns live. It's a new year and a whole new era in AEW. And there's no better time to experience the excitement than right now. AEW Collision Homecoming, live from Daily's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. Tickets on sale now, starting at $20 at AEWTIX.com.
The housing market is as busy as ever on the First Coast. And if you've moved in or moved on, make sure you have a team of trained electricians ready to help. American Electrical can make sure you're up to date electrically and maximize your living experience. Smart home automation services, home theater systems, outdoor and dock lighting, and backup generators. American Electrical can do it all. A team you can trust with highly trained technicians ensuring you have the best living experience. American-Electrical.com, a leader on the First Coast and powered by professionalism.
AA Automotive helps keep your vehicle in dependable and safe condition. Call Sam, Harry, or Joe, and they'll check your brakes, tires, fluids, electric, and motor, so your ride runs smooth on the road. That's AA Automotive on Richard Street.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All sorts of rumors out there. I mean, everything is flying. I kind of love it. I mean, who do you believe at this point? Albert Breer believes it's down to 2. He joined us last Friday. Ben Johnson, if Balky is let go. Robert Saleh, if Balky remains. A lot of people believe it's Liam Cohen. Todd Monken interviewing today, perhaps still right now. Scheduled the interview with the Bears tomorrow. Friday morning, it'll be Philadelphia offensive coordinator Kellen Moore interviewing with the Jaguars. Tomorrow night, Brian Flores, Minnesota's defensive coordinator. Joe Brady, the Bills' offensive coordinator, set to interview on Saturday night. So those will be interviews 8, 9, and 10. Once the Monken interview is complete, that'll mean 7 have already done so. Again, you can begin to bring coaches in on the 20th. And, Jeff Darlington yesterday acted as though he was breaking news, which I found somewhat amusing. And I do like Jeff, but, saying that this is the most coveted job. Of course it's the most coveted job. It's the best available job for several reasons. I mean, you want to go to that furnace in Dallas? My goodness, man. The pressure to win there. You want to try to win in Chicago in that division? Incredibly difficult division. You want to go to New York? The Jets haven't won in 14 years. They haven't been to the playoffs in 14 years. The New England Patriots, to be the guy to replace the guy of Bill Belichick in just 1 year. New Orleans? This is another division that, all right, the Atlanta situation, we'll see. Change of the quarterback there. Carolina, first year with Canellis. Young looks like he may be turning his career around, possibly, but it's still the Saints. All right? Not a lot of faith there. I think most would agree with that. Las Vegas? Who the heck wants to go to Las Vegas? And again, there's people out there saying that with Ben Johnson. There's also people out there saying that that's nothing more than a smokescreen, that Ben Johnson's really not intrigued by the situation with the Las Vegas Raiders. You know, we talk all the time about how difficult it would be to go to Chicago and play and face the AFC North. What about the NFC North? What about the AFC West? Look at the quarterbacks there. Yeah, okay, Harbaugh and Herbert lost. You still got Mahomes. All right, you got to deal with him all the time. And, you know, I think that is arguably the most difficult division in the NFL if Bo Nix improves even more during his sophomore season. Look what he did as a rookie this year. I mean, it's what Denver went. What did they do? 10-6, 10-7 for Denver. I mean, look at that. Kansas City 15-2, LA 11-6, Denver 10-7. You're talking about the Raiders at 4-13, who don't have a quarterback. They don't have a franchise quarterback. They're going to have to draft one. Again, you look at the Bears. Many would say the Bears is the best job. I disagree. The Jaguars is the best job. Look at that division. Detroit 15-2, Minnesota 14-3, Green Bay 11-6, the Bears 5-12. Bears were 1-5 in the division. What were the Raiders in the division? Let's see. Division, they were 0-6. So, a couple of other notes before we get to your questions, and there's a lot of good ones coming in tonight. Ed Werder, who I wish was still with ESPN, he's one of the few guys that I actually like over there. He, and I say that just because he comes across as an old school journalist. It seems like, you know, nowadays everything on ESPN is either politically motivated or it comes with a punchline, as opposed to just giving us the news. Says Deion Sanders would accept that job in Dallas if offered. There was also a report that came out right before I went on air from On3 Sports that said Deion Sanders did not get extra NIL money from Colorado that he was asking for. I, for one, would like to see him stay at the college game. The NFL game is fine, whether it's Kellen Moore, whether it's Witten, or it's Deion Sanders. The NFL game works. College football, Colorado's been put on the map the last 2 years. Deion Sanders leaves Colorado, they go right back down to the bottom of the barrel. You know, we'll never talk about him again. So I'm always going to lean towards college for reasons like that. We didn't get into it yesterday. Quinn Ewers is leaving. All right, a lot of people thought he would become the highest paid transfer quarterback. There are reports that, you know, Carson Beck got $4 million or just under $4 million to go to Miami. You see that viral thing of him and the Cavender twins out on the boat, out on the yacht? It was their birthday.
I see all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. That stuff, like, wakes me up. It'll be like 10:30 in the morning, and I'm trying to get some good shut-eye, and all of a sudden I hear beep, beep. And I'll pick up my phone, and someone will send me, you know, that.
Laugh of the party.
That could be trouble. That could be. I mean, a beautiful lady like that could just be trouble. I wish the best for Carson Beck. I'm trying to remember where I played golf somewhere here like 4 years ago when he was going to Georgia. And she was a cart girl. She's like, I'm Carson Beck's girlfriend. I'm like, that's very nice. Can I have 6 Miller Lights, please? And my lighter's not working. Can you light my cigar? She was a really nice girl. Maybe someone out there knows, but apparently he's moved on. He's with one of these hoopsters, one of these supermodels. But again, I'm always going to lean to the college game. I mean, the NFL game is going to survive with Quinn Ewers in it or not. Wouldn't it have been cool to see where would Quinn Ewers have gone? Would it have been Oregon? Would it have been Ohio State? Would it have been Georgia? You know, do you have any idea at all? Did it ever cross your mind if he would? Because this is such a weird situation. He was basically told, leave. You're gone. This is Arch Manning's team now for the Longhorns. Go to the draft or go find another school to play.
Yeah, and it's like Matt Hayes put out the article yesterday that Georgia wanted Carson Beck back in 2025. And I guess the two couldn't agree on what they wanted to do. You don't know what these coaches want, man. Maybe, Sark feels that he got all of that he wanted out of Quinn Ewers and is like, all right, I'm ready to turn the page here and see what I can get with Arch. Because, I mean, it's not the media's fault and it's not fans' fault, but when you're told that Quinn Ewers is one of the best prospects ever, you put that dude on a pedestal and you think that, okay, he's just going to roll through this and without a hiccup. And it just he never got to that point where he just, was smooth and did things with ease like you see with some other quarterbacks.
Very interesting. Would have loved to have known where he was going to go. And, it doesn't appear we're going to get that is going to happen. He's probably going to be a day 2 pick. He's probably going to be a Friday night pick. Go in the second or third round. I was looking at the deadline is come and gone now to enter the NFL draft for underclassmen. I think Texas is losing 7 juniors to the NFL draft. They're losing Ewers. They're losing the very talented tackle, Kelvin Banks. They're losing Jaden Blue, a running back. They're losing a couple of wide receivers. They're losing Isaiah Bond, who we watched. Matthew Golden. Just love that kid's game. I mean, just outstanding for Texas. Let's see. They don't do it they don't do it by school here. Instead, the list I have, they're doing it alphabetically. But I had a couple of other Texas players on here, I do believe. Tackle Cameron Williams out of Texas. And Quinn Ewers. Okay, I guess that's it. It looks like Georgia's getting hit hard, either 4 or 5 different players for Georgia. We know that ETN is coming out. Starks, the safety, is probably the best safety in this year's draft class. Hard hitter and a ball hawk, and losing guys off the defensive line. Mikael Williams is coming out of Georgia. Jalen Walker is coming out of Georgia. Offensive lineman Jared Wilson, a center, is coming out of Georgia. Let's see. Again, they don't do this by school. They do it alphabetically, so it does become a little bit bizarre to try to find everything. And, I said earlier, Trevor Etienne. Oh, yeah, also, Tyrion Ingram Dawkins is coming out of Georgia. Florida, just one player, the linebacker, James. Florida State's losing 2 juniors, Joshua Farmer and A.Z. Thomas. So Florida State loses as many players as they had wins. I also forgot Georgia's Dylan Fairchild is coming out of Georgia.
And Jalen Walker.
Did I say Jalen Walker earlier?
I'm not sure if you did. He's one of them, though. I'm looking at this list.
Okay.
He's a really good player. I think he was a captain. And then there's Jalen Milroe at Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard somebody said Jalen Milroe is like Anthony Richardson, but a slightly better prospect. If anybody picks him in the first round, good luck to you. I mean, there's been times where, we've all seen him when he can throw or run, but, him throwing the ball, it's been shaky to say the least.
Alabama's got Milroe. Alabama's got a couple of defensive players. There's no doubt about it. Alabama, let me see. Jahad Campbell, I've seen him mocked to Jacksonville in a few cases. If he could fall perhaps to round number 2. And, a lot of things are going to change. We're still 98 days away from the NFL draft. Tyler Booker, a guard out of Alabama. Miami, Elijah Arroyo, and Damian Martinez, the running back. So the tight end and the running back. Miami only loses 2. This state, Miami 2, Florida 1, Florida State 2 for the heavies. But Georgia and Texas just ravaged with players on their way to the National Football League draft. Okay. Final thought before we head to this break, and then, as promised, we're going to get to you and your questions. You see, Bill Belichick still hasn't signed his contract in North Carolina?
Just saw that headline.
Yeah. And, there's a lot of people who believe that this could be a late entry. And, when I think of Belichick, there's really two teams that stick out. It's Vegas with Brady, and it's Dallas. That makes sense. It really does. Although it didn't work with Parcells, New York, he scorned New York and the Jets. Remember that whole thing? And then the trade that took place, and New England with draft picks. I just can't see. I really feel like it's going to be Flores in New York with the Jets. But that's another interesting story that is out there. Can you imagine just not signing your contract? And what is preventing him from doing that? It's a very simple question. Why haven't you signed the contract? Do you think North Carolina doesn't want him to sign the contract? Of course they do. Why hasn't he signed the contract? And there's been a lot of talk about his language of it as far as his out. And I want to say it was like post June 1st, there's no buyout money. He could leave. Can you imagine he would do to the North Carolina program if he announced in the middle of the summer that he was not going to coach there? And again, that would mean another NFL job would have to open. I think we're set now. Is it foolish to make a case and say that if Baltimore beats Buffalo handily on Sunday night, that Sean McDermott could be in trouble?
No, it's not crazy. I think it could definitely happen.
He's a great coach, but I just say that, is this a modern-day Marty Schottenheimer? Again, is this Marvin Lewis? Go back and look at their records. Go back and look at what Marty Schottenheimer did. He's arguably a Hall of Fame coach. His problem is he couldn't win in January. Marvin Lewis, like every year the Bengals went to the playoffs. And I have to look at his record again, but it felt like every year Marvin Lewis was one and done. Marvin Lewis was a great coach. He just couldn't win in the playoffs. And we'll see what happens here with McDermott. I would think he's the only one of the 8 that is under any fire whatsoever. So that is that. All right, much more to do with you tonight till 8.
Remember the days of Baselli, Brunell, Jimmy, and Keenan?
Mark Brunell with a masterful run.
Jaguars pride forever. 1010XL.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
When my wrist pain was acting up and I needed help, I took Dan Hickens' advice and headed over to see the experts at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. This is Stuart Moore with the PGA Tour. I highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. Whenever you have a need, they took great care of me. They'll take great care of you.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy. The next time you need orthopedic care, you can rely on our team at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Tired of a plain and boring backyard? Stonecore on Phillips Highway is your one-stop choice to beautify your home. With pavers, stonework, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces, pergolas, and driveways. Visit stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and this month I want to talk to you about welcoming the winds of change in your life. But so often, when we see the winds of change coming our way, our immediate response is to fight it. Friends, when you see things in your life changing, when the winds of change are coming your way, don't fight it, but embrace it. Recognize that God is stirring you up so that you too can soar like an eagle.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
Get more Gators with Dan Hickett and me, Frank Frangie, on all things Gators on 1010XL Gators Podcast, with new episodes every Monday, brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, wherever you find podcasts and at 1010XL.com.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text PEC to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text PEC to 321-321. That's PEC to 321-321.
When you head out for a night with friends or going to the big game, don't forget the best game plan to win the night is to designate a driver and guarantee a safe ride home. Hydrating between buds is the best play you can make. Bud Light, reminding all to drink wiser.
The big game is almost here, and Sonny's Barbecue wants you to win a barbecue feast. Text Sonny's to the text line brought to you by Lifetime Flooring at 641-1010 for your chance to win. 641-1010.
Bull riding, the perfect fusion of strength, skill, and pure willpower. Professional bull riders aren't just athletes. They're daredevils with cowboy souls. Come experience the true modern West, where 8 seconds of glory will create a lifetime of memories. It's the Michelob Ultra PBR Jacksonville at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, February 22nd and 23rd. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com and PBR.com. Hold on tight. The ride of your life is about to begin.
Why is the Dead Sea so named? The answer next.
Southern Oak Insurance is proud to continue offering coverage statewide. Financial stability makes Southern Oak Insurance a wise choice for your homeowner's insurance needs. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The Dead Sea is 9 times saltier than any other sea, which means no living creature can actually live there.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
When it comes to towing products, your safety on the road is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Whether it's a heavy-duty tow hitch, trailer frame, wiring, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjax.com to explore a range of products and schedule your installation. Cannons of Jacksonville, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
Nick in here with a message from Zero Res. Did you have people over for the holidays? Kids everywhere, dirt everywhere, all over the carpets, the rugs, the sofas, and chairs? Did the kitchen tile take a beating? Sounds like it's time to call my guys over at Zero Res. The Zero Res techs will get the house looking great again. Folks, if you need help cleaning up after the holiday, give Zero Res a call. Right now, 25% off carpet cleaning, 25% off upholstery cleaning. Zero Res, spell it forwards. Zero Res, spell it backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Tailgate special alert. 3 pounds of marinated chicken, 2 pounds of marinated steak tips, 2 pounds of fresh ground beef, and 2 pounds of homemade sausage for only $80 to feed your crew.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Let's do some random fire on questions because I got a lot in tonight. The 9113 says, Ballou, can we actually hire a coach before they are eliminated or just interview them? No, you cannot hire. Absolutely cannot do that. 8121, Ballou, no one talks about culture when you're winning. It's a pretty good point. Ballou, can we take back the stadium deal? Really? That bad? That bad, really? Find that hard to believe. 7393, hey, Ballou, loved your rant on divorce. Florida's nowhere as bad as Middlesex County, Massachusetts. Well, I used to live right smack dab in the middle of it. The man is guilty until proven innocent. It goes on and on and on. Once told my judge, yada, yada, yada. I can think of 12 to 13 of my good buddies that I grew up with. 2 were divorced. I know the last time I mentioned this, it was like 6 months ago. Someone produced to me that numbers, divorce-wise, were more then than now. I still find that hard to believe. I mean, look to your left, they're probably divorced. Look to your right, they're probably divorced. When I grew up, that was not the case.
And the divorce rate now, like more than 50%.
People stuck it out. Yeah.
I find it hard to believe that it was like that.
Yeah, someone said it, but they didn't produce anything. And we're in the data business. We want numbers. We listen. I love it. I love to come out and say I'm wrong. But you got to send me something. Yada yada yada. Yeah, 3401. Rick, isn't that how it used to be? And it's unfair to the coaches on the good teams. Maybe you don't introduce anyone to the league new year. I'd be all right with that. I would. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe do something around Championship Sunday or the 2 weeks before the Super Bowl. Maybe have some exclusion for the Final Four, the Final Two. I don't know. But I mean, again, it's hard. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time, I mean, this process is messed up. And it doesn't relate to you as a Jaguar fan because you're the one getting ready to hire. You're wondering about these names. But I threw that out to begin the show. Can you imagine if instead of Jacksonville being 4-13, they were 13-4? And Press Taylor was interviewing everywhere. And Ryan Nielsen was interviewing everywhere. I mean, you're in Buffalo, and you're going to have Joe Brady interview here virtually on Saturday night. Kellen Moore's going to do it tomorrow from Philadelphia. Todd Monken's doing it right now from Baltimore. Both Detroit coaches just did it. That shoe was on the other foot. And it's been forever around here, right? I mean, who was the last one? Was it Chris Palmer when he went to Cleveland? I was working on the ball. Kevin Gilbride. I mean, Dick Duran, Dom Capers. It's been a long, long, long time since someone called Wayne Weaver. Happy birthday, Wayne. 90 today. Been a long time since someone has called Shad Khan or has called Wayne Weaver and said, can I interview one of your assistant coaches to be a head coach? So and I get it. So you don't think about it that way because it hasn't, it hasn't affected you. Incredible stuff. Kyle Brady. Okay. I also made a big deal earlier that the Jaguars need to draft offensive players. The Jaguars overpay for offensive players via free agency, and they've never brought in a superstar. Okay, Brandon Sheriff may be the best of the bunch, Pro Bowler. Didn't work out. Christian Kirk took it to the next level, but for the most part in Arizona, he was the number 3 wide receiver on that team. Evan Ingram didn't live up to the billing. He's played well here, but that's not my point. I'm talking about signing a superstar. Do you really believe this team's going to get T. Higgins? Do you really believe that? Or are they going to overpay?
You're going to have to spend a lot of money to get him. I mean, a lot of money.
Someone says Keenan McCardell. Keenan McCardell was on the street, man. He was with Cleveland and Baltimore. Jimmy Smith. These guys were on the street. They became great players. That's not my point. I'm talking about signing great players. And they've done it with a lot of defensive guys. I mean, they signed Bryce Paup and Carnell Lake. They signed guys who worked. They signed Calais Campbell. They signed Paul Posluszny. I'm not saying defense here. I'm saying offense. Kyle Brady, for crying out. That was during the Richard Nixon administration. Kyle Brady?
I was just born.
Is that, I mean, wow. Is that where we're going? 0237, the ones I could think of right now, Torrey Holt and Leon Searcy. You know what? Our boy Leon is absolutely it. And that happened in what? 1996. That's 29 years ago. Torrey Holt did nothing here. Boy, man, that is scary. And that trend continues.
One free agent signing I forgot about was Derek Marks. I forgot about him.
Defensive guy, but sure.
Yeah.
Big fan of him. I forget that game that it was called where you had to go out and he was doing it in London. And I'd come out of some hole-in-the-wall bar, and he was walking around. He was looking for, like, one of those emojis or something. What was that thing where you would try to track it down? You had to walk to certain parts of a city. You have any idea what I'm talking about?
The Pokemon thing?
I think that was it, yeah.
That was, like, 2016?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, because that was right when I graduated high school.
I didn't have to work. I had nothing to do. It was raining and cold in London, so I'm like, what else do you do when it rains and cold in London? You go find a lager. That's what I did. But, and then we remember he jumped offside. Oh, boy. That was terrible. 87-83, Ballou. How do I flirt with a college classmate without making it awkward because we are in a year-long program? Whatever you do, do not talk to her, okay? Find a way to get her digits and do it all via social media, okay? Because that's the way of the world now. And why waste time talking? Let me know how that works out. Because we care. We do. We absolutely care. 2752, my question around this team, are any of those coaches allowed to say, no, you can't interview? I think it's one of those unwritten rules out of respect that if someone wants to interview a coordinator, you let them. Now, there's the other way. I saw Cliff Kingsbury come out today, who's not interviewing in Jacksonville. Cliff Kingsbury came out today and said, I'm not going to do any more interviews because my focus right now is on the game. I think the timing of this is pretty interesting. I mean, it's a Thursday night, so you basically just have Friday because the game is Saturday. The Commanders are at Detroit. That'll be a Tom Brady game coming up Saturday night at 8 o'clock.
By the way, I just saw a story. Tom Brady's expected to come back to Fox next year. So the whole speculation of, he'll just be a one and done, he'll go all in with the Raiders, doesn't look like it's going to be that way.
That has to change. And I don't think it'll change until Las Vegas becomes a perennial playoff team. But that's just wrong. And I'm a huge Tom Brady guy. I am. I'm from Boston. I grew up loving the New England Patriots. I'm a Brady guy. But I tell the story often. My allegiance, and listen, I've always told you the truth. I don't benefit from not telling you the truth. When I was on the ball, it was crystal clear in the 90s that I was a Patriots fan. I remember the 96 AFC Championship game, openly rooting on the ball for the Patriots. I was. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, I did it. I said it. But my stripes officially changed during the January of 2018 AFC Championship game at Foxborough. Because I was on the sideline as a sideline reporter, and I watched the Jaguars blow that game by sitting on a lead. And sometimes you can fake it, right? You can fake a lot of things. When it got to the fourth quarter, and I sat there and said, they're 15 minutes away from going to the Super Bowl. Selfishly, I'm like, I'm 15 minutes away from being able to. I've covered many Super Bowls, and they're a grind. Radio Row's a grind, but I've never had an opportunity to be a sideline reporter during a Super Bowl. I'm like, we're 15 minutes away. And that was more important than anything. I was like, that's it. You know, New England, I was born and raised with you, but I called Duval my home, and I elected to come back here in 2006. I think that was the telling point, though, for me. And by the way, it's fine to be in a city and not necessarily be a fan of the team. It does happen in a lot of places. And again, I totally play. For those of you who listen to old school, when I was on the ball in the 90s, I was absolutely that way. Guaranteeing that New England would win that game at the old stadium. But I changed. And obviously you can tell by the way I do my show. I mean, there's no question. But I've always said this. I want this team to win, not for those players and coaches, but for you, the fans. It's as simple as that for me. It really is. And I know that people don't quite understand what I mean by it. But I'd much rather see those fans win who were around here in the 90s, who remember that 1996 loss in Foxborough when the lights went out by 10 minutes. They remember the Reggie Barlow fumble. They remember that season, the great win in Denver, the great win in Buffalo, the great second half of the season. That's what I look at. But anyway, Calais is the closest we got. Yeah, Calais is defense. They've hired some great defensive guys, no doubt. Rick, can we get your top 5 broadcasters of all time? Wow. Howard Cosell would be one. Jim Nantz. YouTube is great. You can go back and listen. Love Dick Enberg.
Keith Jackson.
You know, when I started in the business, I was Lynn Swan's sideline assistant. It was Keith Jackson and Bob Greasy in the booth, and Keith Jackson would say, let's throw it down the Lynn Swan. Swanee. Yeah. But you know what? I like Brent Musburger better.
It seems like Keith Jackson was on every big sporting event back then.
So great. So great.
I mean, he called the Daytona 500, college football, was on the first Monday Night Football crew.
I'm going to take Brent Musburger over him. And I know that is not going to win me any popularity contests at all, okay? But if I listed 5, first of all, Doc Emmerich, maybe my all-time favorite, now retired hockey announcer. And I grew up with Fred Cusick in Boston. Those two that I have to put in there. Then I would say Cosell, Nantz, and probably Emmerich. And then maybe Musburger at number 6. That would probably be it for me. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else that's even in the spectrum for me as far as play-by-play broadcasters. And I guess you should separate this from national to local because obviously I love Gene Deckerhoff, and there was some Boston guys I grew up loving. Tell you another one that is really underappreciated is Sean McDonough. And he came out of Syracuse, and he got the Red Sox play-by-play job at like 23 or something. But that man has been around forever. And you talk, Mike Tirico's the one I really admire.
He's so smooth.
We're blessed with so many great broadcasters. We really are. This is a phenomenal era of top-notch broadcasters. I do think in the NFL and in college football, we're hurting a little bit with our analysis. I think there's room for growth there. We just talked about Tom Brady. I mean, the whole Tony Romo thing. You know, we see Dr. Herbie, Kirk Herbstreit. I do think there's much better play-by-play guys than there are color analysts, in my opinion. I don't even know who I would look at right now and say that is my favorite. Probably John Smoltz.
Or Troy Aikman.
No.
No?
Not even close. Nope, not at all.
Greg Olson's pretty good.
Greg Olson's good. I think Joe Klatt's good.
I'm drawing a blank. I can't think of anybody else.
Of course, I love my buddy Timmy Brando.
Yep.
Selfishly there. I've known him forever. Love him. And you know, Tim was a really good studio host for a number of years. No doubt about that. But, you know, to me, there's not a John Madden, right? It just doesn't feel like it. I mean, Collinsworth? Hell no. Aikman? Hell no. Romo, hell no. I like Charles Davis down the road here in Orlando. I like Charles. Does a good job. But that's an interesting question. Maybe we'll have some fun with that over the summer and dive into it topic-wise. But again, I think you are blessed right now. You have just fantastic play-by-play guy. I tell you who else I loved was Jim Lampley back in the day. HBO and boxing. Big fan of that. All right, final thoughts coming up on the other side. Hacker joins you at 8.
Your radio highlight reel.
Caught for the touchdown.
1010XL, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island is excited to announce an all-new happy hour, 7 days a week. You heard right. Every day from 3 until 6 p.m. and again from 9 until close. Barley and Pie has deals you can't resist. 2-for-1 clay lights, 2-for-1 house wines, and much more. Experience the all-new happy hour at Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island.
Jacksonville. When AEW returns home, it is the biggest party in all of professional wrestling.
Daily's Place, the home of AEW.
And on Saturday, January 25th, Collision returns live. It's a new year and a whole new era in AEW. And there's no better time to experience the excitement than right now. AEW Collision Homecoming, live from Daily's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. Tickets on sale now, starting at $20 at AEWTIX.com.
Instead of wasting money on resolutions you won't keep, why not invest in something that lasts? Like fixing that dripping faucet, clearing that clogged drain, or finally tuning up your AC. Call Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. We'll help you keep your home in shape this year. It's the one resolution you won't regret breaking. Call 904-862-6769 to schedule service today. Because when you're stuck, call the Duck. Right now, get $50 off any service of $150 or more.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser start the week by giving the ball to the best back in Duval.
And off, Fred Taylor.
Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein & Robbins DUI Defense Firm and Monahan Jewelers on 1010XL.
Hey gang, Prosser here. If you think you have problems related to the need to sell your home, we have solutions. And by we, I don't mean me. I mean ChadandSandy.com. That's Chad, A-N-D, Sandy.com. Call them today at 904-414-6200. Look, the problems could fall into a variety of areas. Maybe you want guaranteed no-hassle home sale, but don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. Maybe you need more space with a growing family. Doesn't matter what the problems are. You go to Chad and Sandy. Those problems are fixed. With all the recent talk about interest rates and economic uncertainty, you may be wondering if now is the right time to sell your home. Will you get the price you need? What about repairs or showings? The good news, you don't have to figure it out by yourself. You call my agents, Chad and Sandy Newman. They will deliver. Your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. No required cost of repairs. Pick your move date. No long-term contracts. The success stories are rolling in from all over town. Find out for yourself. Call Chad and Sandy today. That's Chad, A-N-D, Sandy.com.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford. In our effort to curb crime, drugs, and violence during the summer months, we are offering Friday Night Lights. It has already started and will be going until school starts back. It is every Friday night from 6:30 to 9:30 at the Blacktop, 5732 Normandy Boulevard, and behind the Potter's House Christian Academy. We manage 3 basketball courts. You are not running on the cement. We have covering on each court. The Lakers, the Magic, and the Heat. Ages 15 to 40 years old. This will give them something to do other than selling drugs and getting into trouble. We have monitors there giving leadership. We have to wake up, stand up, and speak up. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. Or MattDadJacksonville.com.
Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
You can attend the Police Athletic League's 2-day boxing tournament at Julian Jackson Center, January 18th and 19th. Learn more at jaxpal.org.
The Wounded Warrior Project provides what medicine and technology can't: community, counseling, and a second chance. Find ways to help at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Your high school girls can join the Duval Tides girls rugby team. No tryouts and no experience necessary. Learn everything you need to know at Jack's HS Girls Rugby on Facebook and Instagram.
The Creeks Athletic Association in St. Johns County offers a variety of sports for children 5 to 18. Learn how to get your child involved at caaleague.org.
The Tom Coughlin J Fund helps families battling childhood cancer, and there are ways you can help. Go to tcjfund.org.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
The 7th interview is apparently still ongoing right now. Todd Monken, offensive coordinator with the Baltimore Ravens, interviewing on this Thursday. Tomorrow he'll interview with the Bears. All right, the rest of the schedules, candidates 8, 9, and 10, or the rest of the schedule, I should say. Kellen Moore tomorrow morning, Brian Flores tomorrow night, Joe Brady Saturday night. Moore with Philadelphia, the offensive coordinator. Flores, Minnesota's D coordinator, now eliminated for the playoffs, and Joe Brady, Bills offensive coordinator. So we'll have an update tomorrow night. Also, Tim Brando at 6:20 tomorrow night to get us ready for the national championship game between the Buckeyes and the Fighting Irish. 0489 Nick Foles. Okay. Back up. Big deal. 8212 Andrew Norwell. I'll give you that. 4777 Andre Rison. 3144 Natron Means. Boy, we're going back. We are going back. Where's the one? Kyle Brady, 7258. 5602 Julius Thomas. There's your winner. Julius Thomas. Boy, and that is so disappointing because I thought that 2 tight end combination of Julius Thomas and Mercedes Lewis was really going to be something. And it never worked out. Julius Thomas was lazy. Julius Thomas lost the step. He just took the bag and moved on. Here's one, bro. Jerry Porter and Aaron Glenn. Dune, are you kidding me? What about Andre Rison? Okay, but we're going back to 1996. We're going back 29 years. That's my point. Been a very, very long period of time since that has happened. I mean, that is just incredible if you do look at it that way. 6396 Blue, free agency is overpaying on everyone. Yep, you're right. But everything's overpaying now. When you re-sign your own players, you overpay. I mean, Tyson Campbell played in 12 games? He didn't have a pick. Josh Hines-Allen went from 17 sacks to 8 sacks. Took the last game off. Maybe it was something really, really awful. I'm not trying to make light of that, but he didn't play. Trevor Lawrence's deal hasn't kicked in yet. He has regressed. I still think there's a chance. Walker Little's going to make $15 million a year now. Guy can't stay healthy. He's got to protect his blind side. That's another part of it. That's a question I asked a few weeks ago. Who's the last re-signed player that's worked here? Logan Cook. Before that, who? A drafted player re-signed. You got to go back to Maurice Jones-Drew. You got to go back to Mercedes Lewis. It's hard, man. You build the team by drafting players and re-signing players. And look at where these drafted players are now. Andre Sisco's up. You going to bring him back? You going to pay Devin Lloyd top money? You going to pick up his fifth-year option? Trayvon Walker's going to break the bank. You're going to have to pay Trayvon Walker top pass rush edge money. You're going to have to dwarf the contract of Josh Hines-Allen. I mean, Allen signed a year ago. Whenever you pay Walker, whether it's this March or it's in a year, he's going to get paid more. A lot of teams deal with this. All right, and the Dave Caldwell approach didn't necessarily work, did it? By not paying these guys. And then good players that you drafted were unhappy, and they left, including Jalen Ramsey, including Yannick Ngakoue. So don't ever kid yourself. Running a football team is a brutal job. Free agency is hard. Re-signing your own players is hard. There's no doubt about it.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
Packer Nation is here. What is going on?
Day number 10 of the roller coaster of the Jaguar coaching search. Who was the flavor of the day today? I guess maybe Todd Monken. He was the known interview. What did you make of Liam Cohen interviewing into the wee hours of the morning?
Yeah, Schott had an event.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
He stepped out. Nice of Schott to be here for his event. He could not be here for the season-ending press conference and firing of Doug Peterson. He was already on the boat or on a plane somewhere.
That was a good look. Good look.
I mean,
yeah.
How many owners in the history of the NFL have fired their coach, and by the time you get to talk to the media, you're on a Zoom call somewhere?
Yeah. Fired the coach, and then 8 hours later was on a Zoom call somewhere. Very interesting.
The Todd Monken situation, I don't hate it. I know Todd a little bit. This is a really good football mind who's been in a lot of difficult situations. But it seems like it's a given with Liam Cohen and Ben Johnson and Joe Brady. If they come here, they call plays. Is that the same situation for Todd Monken? I don't know.
Whether it's fair or not, I think the reality is if Todd Monken was 15 years younger, he'd be a much more interesting candidate to the Jaguar fan base. But because Todd Monken's 58 years old, I think people look at that and probably use that against him. And, that's the reality. I don't believe it's necessarily fair, but I believe, at least in the fan base's eyes, that's the reality of where they are with Todd Monken.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I don't think he's anywhere near the leader in the clubhouse, but we'll see. And it's got to be tough on the fans out there in Baltimore. I mean, Baltimore, Detroit, Philadelphia, Buffalo, having all these coordinators interview, and you got a playoff games coming up this weekend.
And then you're right about that. And then I saw Josina Anderson. Josina Anderson, I think, knows a fair amount about what she's talking about. She won't let the Ben Johnson and Jacksonville stuff go away. Did you see what she said earlier today? How it's clearly the best job for Ben Johnson. She just keeps kind of driving that point home. And I don't know why. We're going to go out to Las Vegas coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. Adam Hill is with the Las Vegas Review-Journal. He's also a host on ESPN Radio in Las Vegas. And I want to just really gauge the interest of a guy out there about Ben Johnson. How truthful does he believe those rumors are? But the Ben Johnson and Jacksonville stuff won't go away, and it's kind of interesting.
No, it won't. And Anderson has that opinion. And then you have, Albert Breer's opinion that he still thinks it's Johnson if Bulky is removed. And you have Darlington's report yesterday where it's the most coveted job, which I know everyone around here has been saying for a very long period of time. So, yeah, there's still a ton out there and 3 more interviews coming up over the weekend. So, at least by Monday, the 10 interviews should be done, and then we'll also move into where you can start bringing them in one-on-one. That begins on the 20th of January.
How many people get second interviews, do you think? 3 or 4? That kind of be your finalist list?
I would say absolutely Johnson, Cohen, and Salah. Those are 3 guarantees, in my opinion. Aaron Glenn, I'd probably put in there at number 4. And then I think there'll be a surprise. Is it Brian Flores? Is it Kellen Moore?
Joe Brady?
Yeah, but I think those are the 3. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree those 3. And it's just curious, would you call it a second round of interviews, or is that your finalist list? It'll be interesting, the verbiage the Jaguars use.
Yeah, you got to bring him in, though. I mean, listen, Zoom's great, and it's made us lazy, and it's very convenient. But if you're getting ready to hire the next head coach, you want to sit down and have a meal with this guy.
Now, I believe Salah is the only guy that's been here in person. Nobody else could be. If you're under contract to a team, you have to wait till at least after January 20th per NFL rules.
And I thought Salah was doing something with some
He was
team.
with Green Bay, but that expired like at the end of the regular season.
All right, there you go, because I knew he was doing a little something. All right, what? You have Vegas going out
we're going out to Vegas. Cecil Shorts, former Jaguar wide receiver, Justin Barney of Channel 4. It's going to be mostly Jaguars, NFL for the next 2 hours here on Hacker After Dark.
All right, Hack. Have a lot of fun.
Thanks, Rick.
That'll do it. Thank you to the Philly Godfather for joining us. Tomorrow night, right out of the gate at 6:20, Tim Brando. So we'll take a tiny break in Jaguars news and get Brando's thoughts on Notre Dame and Ohio State in Atlanta coming up on Monday night. We'll do that at 6:20 tomorrow. And then, of course, plenty on the Jaguars as well. Thank you to Dylan Denmark. As I always say, I don't check the text line now that the show is over. If you want to get a hold of me, you can do so on Twitter or X. That's Ballou1010XL. Hackers up next. I'm Rick Ballou. We'll talk tomorrow at 6.